Happy holidays and welcome back to my channel, Nefertiti Decorating Rainbow. And today I have a special sew along for you guys. This is my freebie holiday stocking, and let's go ahead and get into the sew along. If you like this pattern and you haven't already signed up for my email list, you can click the link in the description. But let's get into the tutorial. First, you're going to need to cut out two of fabric and two of lining, and then we're going to be placing the two of fabric on top of our lining and pin. We're going to be stitching all four layers together. So we're pinning and we're leaving that top edge open, and we're going to stitch everything down at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Next, you're going to need to clip in at your curves, or you can use pinking shears. Just make sure that you're not clipping into your stitches. Now we're going to be turning everything right side out. So go ahead and turn it right side out and give everything a good press. After you've given it a good press, now we're going to be adding in our loop or hoop, whatever you want to call it. So go ahead and open up your lining, and we're going to be stitching our hoop to our lining. But first, let's work on the cuff piece. With your cuff pieces that we cut on the fold, we're going to be placing them right sides together, and we're going to be stitching the long edge of one side of our cuffs. And I'm just pinning everything up here, and we're going to be stitching at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I'm using a wool fabric for my cuff, but you can also use a faux fur or a felt fabric just to give it a little bit more flair. All right, let's go ahead and stitch at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Once you've stitched this seam, you're going to want to go ahead and press your seams open. I decided to add embroidery to my cuffs, and this would be a good time to add embroidery. If you decide to add embroidery a little later, it might be a little bit harder, but you want to make sure that the embroidery is placed in the top left corner of your cuff. So if you are adding embroidery, this is where you would need to place your design. Next, you're going to fold wrong sides together, and we're just pinning that edge here, and we're going to be stitching this at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance as well. After you've pinned, and we're going to go ahead and stitch at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and give everything a good press. Now we're just going to be folding the cuff wrong sides together so that we can prepare the cuff to place inside the stocking. Next, we're going to get our little loop-de-loop here and stitch it at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and turn it right side out. So I used a stretchy fabric, but if you're not using a stretchy fabric for your loop, or if you're using a ribbon, you can skip this step altogether. But I had a stretchy fabric, so it was pretty easy to just turn it right side out. And you're gonna fold the loop in half, and we're gonna be placing the loop inside on the outside seam of our stocking. Matching up those raw edges, we're gonna pin, and we're gonna be basting this at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Go ahead and grab your cuff, and with the embroidered side facing you, we're going to go ahead and slide that right on into our stocking and match everything right sides together, and our side seam should match up together as well. Pin, and we're going to be stitching this at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. This is 6 layers of fabric, so just be careful, especially when you're going over the loop, not to move too fast. You might need to hand wind your machine while you're going over the loop area, just so that you don't break any needles. And your stocking is all done. I went ahead and I serged the edge there, and like I said, it is 6 layers of fabric. So whether or not you can serge yours based on the type of fabric that you use is totally up to you, but you can also just zigzag stitch around the finished edge. Now we're just going to turn our cuff over, make sure that everything looks good, and we are all done. If you enjoyed this so along, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.